Hi everyone, it's Melissa, and today I am going to do a book haul, which I almost never do because I don't buy books very often. I buy them secondhand occasionally. I almost never buy books new, but I got a bonus this year at the end of the year, which is something that never happens. I work for a nonprofit, if you didn't know, and we just don't have money in the budget for bonuses. But this year, my boss was able to finagle it through some special funding. Kind of as a thank you for sticking it through during this year of COVID, and like we're all working remotely, and I think we can all relate. Even when I do have money, I always like squirrel it away, and I'm a little bit miserly, and I don't spend it on frivolous things. And so my husband convinced me to spend it frivolously and just like spend it all on myself, and that's what I did. So I took not all of the money, but I did take a big chunk of it to spend on books. And I have some from the thrift store and some new ones, and I'm going to ask for your help to choose some next reads as well. So without further ado, the first ones I got were, this is going to be part of a read-along in 2020 with Rick McDonnell. I'll link his channel, his readathon announcement, but he's leading a read-along of the Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn trilogy by Tad Williams. So there's the Dragonbone Chair, which we were going to be reading in January. I actually kind of had to buy these because my library doesn't have them, and yeah, there was just no way for me to read this. They didn't have it on ebook, like nothing. So that, I've got the second one, The Stone of Farewell, which we'll be reading in February, and then we are taking 2 months, March and April, to read the Green Angel Tower, because it's a chunker. It is over 1,000 pages, and this is not a mass market. Like, it's big. So those were the first things I bought because I knew I wanted to participate in that read along next year. Let's do these ones next. The other new books I got, this has been on my radar for so long in like different wish lists online, and I've never been able to find a cheap edition of it. It's always like $40 or more, and so I've never bought it. Well, when you're spending frivolously, you can just spend money on a $40 book. So it is Italian Folktales by Italo. Calvino. My mother is first generation Canadian. Her parents are Italian, and my mother used to tell me some Italian folk tales, and I always wanted to buy this to just see if they're in here because I only half remember them. My mother doesn't really remember the story she told me. My grandparents have like long since passed away, so I can't ask them. And I just would be interested in reading other Italian folk tales. This is something that I'm not going to get to right away, and it's not something that I'm going to just sit and read through. It's going to be something that I kind of like pick away at here and there. The other thing I've mentioned in other videos, I was looking for this for months, couldn't find it anywhere to read for free, like not my local library. I couldn't get it in from like other libraries in the province. So I splurged and I bought it for myself, and it's this Nonfiction Monster she wrote, The Women Who Pioneered Horror and Speculative Fiction by Lisa Kröger and Melanie R. Anderson. So it talks about like the history of speculative fiction and horror, specifically from women writers, of course, and I think it also has like recommendations of women writers in those genres. Again, this will be something that I'm not just gonna like sit down and read kind of like front to back. I'll probably just pick away at this, but I am so excited. I love horror and speculative fiction. I read way more women writers than I read men writers as well. So I am very much looking forward to picking away at this year. So there's a theme of these being things that I've been wanting to read that my library doesn't have. And this is another one that I've been meaning to get to, and I couldn't get a copy of it, so I bought one for myself. Dancing at the Pity Party by Tyler Fetter, a dead mom graphic memoir. And I think the name says it. It's a memoir of, she lost her mother when she was fairly young, a teenager, maybe early 20s. Maybe she was in college or something, but fairly young. and it's about her dealing with her grief. I lost a parent not very young. I was 29, but younger than most, and I like reading books about parental loss, and it helps me process that. So I really, really, really want to read this, but it's probably going to make me sob like a little baby, but that's fine. So the next one, I can't really tell you much about. I don't know much about it. I picked it up because I'm spending money on books this month, and because some people I follow on Goodreads gave it high ratings and really said it was like warm and made them feel all emotional, and it just sounded like a sweet story. And it's The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse by Charlie Mackesy, I want to say. It's a hard font to read. It's kind of like a picture book, so it's not like it's a novel. It's illustrated. Oh, there's a little, I wonder if that's an actual, I might try to play that. Apparently there's music in there. Anyway, I don't know what it's about, but the illustrations are giving me kind of like Winnie the Pooh vibes, and that is totally something that sounds like it would be for me. The last that I have here of my new purchases is this one. It's another graphic novel, This Place, 150 Years Retold, and it is a bunch of different authors. They are all Indigenous. I'm trying to see if there's like an editor. Okay, well, there's a list of contributors here, but I will, of course, will link this in the description along with all the other books. So it's from a variety of Indigenous authors, and they're exploring the past 150 years, but through the lens of Indigenous people. So it's 10 stories, and I'll just also show you some of the, there's like timeline. I heard about this book from, I always forget her channel name, Danny, Thunderbird Woman Reads. I can't quite remember, but I will link her channel below, but she said awesome things about this collection. So it's like a graphic anthology, I guess. And it looks like all of the stories have different illustrators as well. So they all have different art styles. Yeah, they are all different illustrators. Oh, look at that. Like, that one's cool too. So this is high on my priority list. So the last pile are my thrifted books. So I got Lady Audley's Secret by Mary Elizabeth Braddon. I don't know much about this. I know that Kate Howe, I think it was, talked about this in a series maybe for Victober. It's a Victorian sensation novel. I read my first sensation novel this fall. It was The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins, and it was a rip-roaring good time, and I would love to read another sensation novel. It has bigamy, arson, and murder, so sounds like a great time. I might save that one for next October. We'll see. This I've already read, but I really enjoyed it, so when I saw they had a copy, I picked it up. It is Captain Corelli's Mandolin by Louis de Berniėres. And this is about the Italian occupation of a Greek island. The daughter of the local doctor on the island falls in love with an Italian soldier, so like basically the occupying force. And yeah, anyway, I like that book, so I wanted it. The next is Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. I don't know anything about this book. It's been on my list because Zora Neale Hurston is an author who I've been wanting to read, and this, as far as I know, is her most well-known book. It's at least the one that I hear talked about most often, so I wanted to give it a go. And it's set in the 30s, I think, and the 20s and 30s those are eras that I am very interested in. So I don't know anything else about this, and I kind of don't want to. I just kind of want to go in and read it. So there's that. The next one, Sing Unburied Sing by Jesmyn Ward. Similarly is a book that I know absolutely nothing about. I couldn't tell you 2 words about this book. The only reason I picked this up is because I read, in November, I read Jesmyn Ward's memoir, Men We Reaped, and I loved it. Her writing was so great. I loved that book. And I wanted to read a novel by her. So they had this. I scooped it up because I really want to read more Jesmyn Ward. The next, okay, this is another book I know nothing about. Everything Here is Beautiful by Mira T. Lee. I used to know what this is about, but I've forgotten. Oh yes, this is the story of 2 sisters, and one of them, the older one, becomes responsible for the younger one after their mother dies, and her younger sister has some mental illness. And I am drawn to stories about sisters because I don't have a sister and I always wanted one. So I'm very, I find stories of like sisterhood very compelling. So that's why this was on my list. It was on my list and I couldn't remember why. That's why. So the next one is Washington Black by E.C. Edugyan. Please correct me if I've mispronounced that. So this is a historical fiction following a young boy who's I think 10 or 11, and he is sold, he's enslaved and he's sold to the master of a ship, and they end up like exploring together, I think, and it turns out this explorer, this captain, whoever he is an abolitionist, so I'm not 100% sure, but I think he might grant the main character, Washington Black, his freedom. And I think there's some sort of like Washington gets blamed for the murder of a man at some point. Anyway, sounds very intriguing. And I saw Kayla from Books and Lala rave about this in one of her vlogs months ago, and it kind of took up some like space at the back of my head, and when I saw it, I really wanted to read it. It was also the winner of the Giller Prize, and I don't really follow book prizes, but Giller Prize is the only one of the only ones. It's the only one I really pay any attention to at all. So the fact that it won the Giller Prize has also intrigued me. Another Giller Prize, not winner, this is a Giller Prize finalist, but The Wonder by Emma Donaghue. I've never read any Emma Donaghue, but she seems very popular, so I was excited to see this. I picked it up only because of the author. There's a little girl who appears to be thriving after months without food, and then they basically send a nurse to observe her and see what's going on, see if she's actually not eating. Yeah, I was intrigued, namely because it was a Giller Prize finalist, and Emma Donaghue is an author that I am interested in reading. It is sunset and I'm losing light quickly, so we're going to wrap this up. Here's the last one. This is The Sisters Brothers by Patrick DeWitt. Another book I don't know much about. This is what happens when I spend money frivolously. It just means I do no research and I just pick up books just willy-nilly. But something that was on my like I want to read for the first time project that I did this year. What did I call it? I called it I've Never Read. There we go. So I read romance for the first time this year. Western was another genre that was on my list, but then after thinking about it, I don't really know if I'm that interested in reading like Western. But this is like a comedy Western, I think. So I think this might be more up my alley. So what I want your help with is figuring out what to prioritize. So I know some of these things I'm not going to get to right away, and other things I know for sure I'm going to get to. So I'm just going to pull the ones that I'm not sure when I'm going to read them. And you can tell me, if you've read them, which one you think I should prioritize. Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. Washington Black. The Wonder. Oh my gosh. The Sisters Brothers. I have small hands, this is hard. Everything here is beautiful. Oh lordy, last one. And Sing Unburied Sing. So here they are. If there's any of these, you can't even see the covers anyway. So that was pointless. Any of those that you read that you thought was really great and you think I should prioritize, just leave me a comment and I will put it on my TBR for January or February. So those are all the books that I bought in December. I hope everyone is doing really well. And as always, thanks everyone so much for watching and we'll chat soon. Take care. Bye.